She's sitting on her bed, papers like spread everywhere. Like she has this folder, papers all around her on the bed. She's on the phone with someone. She's like telling them, she's like, they took my papers for my house. They know what they want. They want my properties and they're trying to make me dead.
Did she call? All right. Now I'm putting down the coffee.
So now.
Is she accusing you of attempted murder?
Yes. We go back, like way back, 21 years back. I'm Chloe.
And I'm Kelly. And we have been friends long enough to know that that kind of connection is rare.
We've recognized a pattern that we can come together feeling overwhelmed and jaded by life, but can walk away from our conversations feeling elevated and fulfilled. Our goal is to have our listeners share in that experience with each episode.
This podcast is our love letter to each other. It has been years in the making, and finally the stars have aligned, and we like to open up our conversations to you. We intend to build a community where no topic is off the table.
In a world where discomfort is actively avoided, therapy is not accessible to many, yet you should talk to a therapist, is a reflex response that denies connection. We have found that talking it out has been a form of free therapy in itself.
We dive into topics like death, divorce, disordered eating, debt, and every taboo topic in between, all while balancing the scales with our tongue-in-cheek humor.
With that, who's ready to get taboo?
Oh, God. Oh, boy.
How doing?
We're doing good. We got this.
This is weird. Hold on. I just
The
needed the
spoon's a
for
little
stir.
weird. Yeah, maybe.
No, I just needed it because all the stuff settles to the bottom.
You got to mix up your spices. I got you. That was the antenna was too long, or the spoon was antenna. I'm done talking.
The
Episode
antenna.
over. We got a lot done.
So this is how it's going. How do I get out of this screen?
Oh my God.
What are we doing first?
I don't care. Surprise me.
No, you surprise me. Let's just start with astrology.
You want to do astrology?
Yeah.
Just hit the
like
ground
it's a
running.
good warm up.
A good warm up.
Yeah.
Fuck. All right. Be ready.
I have nothing ready.
I'm gonna Diane Sawyer your ass so hard right now.
I don't know how to feel about that. This is
Welcome to
I've
Dateline.
prepared nothing for this, so lay it on me.
Have you learned nothing? Do we have to talk about last week's episode? Or no, not last week. 3 weeks ago. We're gonna be on track. We're gonna talk. Remember why things are taboo. It's gonna go great.
Okay.
I believe in us.
I believe in us.
I'm excited.
Okay, quick baka update though.
Oh my God, yes.
So
God, I'm so excited for
yeah,
this.
because it's been weeks since I've seen you.
Yeah, I've missed you.
So right before I was going to Wyoming,
Yeah.
like I think the day or two before we were leaving, I was like cleaning the house, getting things ready.
Mm-hmm.
And she saw me cleaning off the dining room table. And she was like, Chloe, where's my papers that I had on the table? And I'm like, I don't know what papers you're talking about. Like what papers? She's like, my house papers. Like, where did you put them? And should I do the accent? That might be better for the rest of the story. So anyway, I'm
this
like,
is starting off strong.
I'm like, I haven't seen any papers. I'm just cleaning the table, but I can help you look for them. She's like, Chloe, please don't tell me you haven't seen papers. I put them on table. You're only one who cleaning table.
Oh my God.
And I'm like, Jesus. And so I just didn't say anything back because like, honestly,
just no response.
Yeah. With her, like honestly feeding into it, giving the response sometimes just
fuels the fire.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I was just like, whatever, lady. So then that's that. I think the next morning this was, okay, that happened, I think about 4 or 5 days before we left.
Right.
Then like a day or two before we left, Kevin and I wake up and we're in the kitchen. We're like making breakfast. It's like 5 or 6 in the morning. And there's like I see a paper on the counter that has our names on it, but I just like didn't even, because sometimes she just writes weird notes to herself.
Same.
She'll like fixate on things and just write weird notes.
Okay.
So I thought it was one of those things.
Can relate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Kevin opens the note and he's like, dude, and shows it to me.
Oh no.
And it's this like piece of like the kind of notebook paper that is for the fridge magnets for the grocery lists from like years ago.
Oh, from
You know
like
what
the
I'm talking
90s. And
Yeah.
she's just written so few notes that the pad has lasted 30 years.
Yeah.
Love that.
So it's one of those. So the note says, Chloe, and she said, she put on there my married name.
Ooh.
Cunty behavior, first of all.
And do you think it was intentional or do you think it
No,
was
I just think she can't remember.
the dementia? Like, cunty or dementia?
Both. That's the hard thing with her. Like, that's the where Polly and I are always like, dude, is this her personality or is this the dementia? I can't tell.
Is this who she is?
Yeah, I just think that dementia exacerbates or like all the worst parts of her.
It's like emphasizing her worst qualities.
Correct.
Yeah. Okay.
So the note reads, has our names at the top, full names.
Yeah.
And then it says, you need to leave the house today, and puts the address because we are not in mind together anymore.
That's a lot to unpack for me. You've been keeping this from me for 3 weeks.
Yes.
This is crazy. Okay.
And then she signed it, your landlord.
Oh my God.
Annalisa check and puts the date. So that was our eviction notice.
Was it for real? No.
She was for real.
Okay. Fair. Also, 20 years of knowing you, had no idea her name was Anna.
Oh.
That's why your
middle name. Yeah. You didn't know that?
Her name is Anna?
Yeah. Or Anna, but yeah.
Okay, that's something that's less important than the fact that you just got evicted.
That's like, I feel like that's like learning your parents' names for the first time. Like you're not just mom and dad.
Changed
What do
her
you mean?
whole personality for me. I'm looking at her in such a different light now. I don't know what I thought her name was. I truly think I thought it was Baka Lisa Check, but like it's fine. Anyway, moving on. So you got kicked out of her house.
And purposes, it's Baka Lisa Check.
It forever will be. Sorry.
So we're getting kicked out, and honestly, we just kind of laughed about it. I have a picture on my phone. We've saved the original copy. It will be framed in our new residence.
Oh my God, Are you guys going to move out?
Oh, well, that's like the plan for like fall time.
Well, like eventually I knew.
We're not moving out because she evicted us.
That was what I was trying to ask.
Yeah.
Like I was like, damn, that's a lot of power to give her. And I don't think she'd be okay.
Because she's tried to kick me out before. She's tried swinging on me. She literally raised a fist and she's like shaking her fist in the air, getting so mad her dentures are like spitting out of her mouth.
Because of her house papers going missing?
No, this was last summer.
Oh, okay. Fair enough.
But because her linen closet was messy. Which was her doing.
Oh, right.
But she said that never her linen closet was neat like a book.
Interesting
before we moved in.
Yeah.
So I said,
I wish she
I don't know what to tell you because it's been like that since I got here.
Right. And I wish she
I organized it for her.
Had the recollection of like what her garage has looked like until recently.
Homie.
How many hours did it take you to clean that garage?
Well, last year it took last summer was phase 1. And it probably took us a good like 6 solid days, full days of working.
Oh God.
Like that's with dump runs and everything like that.
Yeah. And I remember
we took 5 loads to the dump. Truckloads. Like one of them was a truckload with a full trailer, or 2 of them was.
That's a lot of stuff. That's a lot of garbage.
A lot of garbage.
And I remember
from like the last like 30 years, just
that stresses me out.
Yeah.
I remember getting a selfie of you sweating profusely in the garage in a hazmat, or what are those fucking like a K95 mask?
No, it was like one of the,
or was it a hazmat type
no,
mask?
it was, I don't know. It's like one of the ones for gas or something.
Did you think that like asbestos was going to come up?
No, it was covered in, there was asbestos and rat shit all over. And we're like tearing down all this like old insulation off the walls. And so it was and it was infiltrated with like rat excrement.
That's pretty metal that she was living with that all those years though. Impressive.
Yeah.
I wonder how
but she didn't go in the garage. Like when we were little, we weren't allowed to go in her garage.
Did you find any like treasures though?
Yeah, no, we found a lot of cool stuff.
Yeah,
so we have like a couple totes now. Like I sent you that picture of all the action packers.
So
my God, I'm horny over it.
Dude, that was hot.
So those are all like half of them, maybe even more than half, I will say like are my things, like my things, Kevin's things. But
you live there.
Yeah, exactly. And there's not room for those things to come in the house.
Right.
So, and the 2 of us are the biggest like wardrobe whores, and we have to share one little closet.
Yeah, how's that going?
So we have a seasonal tote in the garage with our like seasonal clothes. So
love that.
We've just pulled out all of our like winter things.
Isn't it crazy that that's time.
But it's getting ready to, well, I guess we still have a couple months.
Yeah, I know. That's the thing that I need to remember is that it really has changed here so much that like summer actually goes into
October.
Yeah. Like my birthday it's hot.
Always warm. Yeah.
It's hot.
Yeah.
It's usually rainy. Like my birthday's usually like here. The first week is rainy, but I would say the last like 4 years, hot as fuck.
Oh, wow.
Like I don't know how to process the fact that I was telling Justin, the frustrating thing about seasons with me is that I am always like 3 months ahead of the actual season itself. So like summer, I'm over it. I've been celebrating summer and been ready for summer since March. Yeah. So I'm like trying to enjoy. I'm really sad about the fact that it's already starting to get darker earlier. Yeah. That's starting to upset me and I'm getting a little depressy about that. Yeah. But like, I'm ready for fall. I want my fucking sweaters. I want my smells. I want all the things because that's like my season. And I feel it coming up. And like, so I want to bring out the clothes. I want to switch over and put like all my sweaters in like my major part of my closet. But
but it's August.
It's August and I have realistically almost 2 months left of summer.
Yeah. Like, easy. Well, and the thing that I think living in Arizona helped me with was appreciating the summer because I used to do the exact same thing. I'm like, okay, by the end of summer, I'm like ready for fall. And it's usually back to school. You want all your cute back to school clothes.
Yeah, totally.
But you can't wear any of them because it's hot as fuck.
Correct.
But now it's like, because I lived in like summer for 3 years, now it's like not long enough.
Yeah.
So but I do really love the fall season. So
love it.
It's like right on time, I feel like for me, but it needs to be over as soon as the holidays are over.
Yeah. Well, yeah. See, like I wish that fall felt as long as fall for me feels like the blink of an eye because I'm not one of these people. I love the holiday season. Yeah. Everyone knows that. I'm sorry. I have like an eyelash that is just like on my cornea and it's fucking me up. But, those people that like, I love fall. Yeah. And I will like, but I think it's crazy to bring out Halloween decorations in September. I think it's crazy. Like Christmas when people and like.
I want to savor the moment that we're in.
Yeah. And no hate to the people
September
that do this.
Is stunning on its own too.
September's stunning. I think it's a really beautiful transition month. I think September really gets overshadowed by October, which I like October is the best month. But like,
it is.
But I think that there's something really beautiful in September because it is such a gorgeous transition. It's still sunny. It's still warm, but you feel things starting to like go to bed.
Yeah.
And I love that.
Oh, go to bed. I like that. It's just like, it's like, there's like this preparation or like we're getting ready to rest again.
It's resting season and Kelly thrives in resting season so much. But I think that it's like hard for me because the holidays are like becoming November might as well be December. November is not fall because at least so many people like in social media or like just in my like the Christmas decor comes out real early. Yeah,
I feel like fall is crazy. October to the first half of November and then winter is the second half of November to December, even though all of that is fall. We don't even enter winter till the 21st of December.
December is fall. Like, Taylor's birthday is December 10th. And I was just saying to her the other day, I was like, dude, you have a fall birthday. Have you ever thought about that? Like I have a very fall birthday, but you, my dude. Yeah.
Well, that's cute because you're cardinal fall, the beginning of the season. You start the season of fall and she's mutable fall. She ends
it up. Yeah. And it shows very differently, but I feel like October, Jesus. Fall is the season that just gets cut because at the tail end of it are the holidays and the holidays are so like winter. Yeah. And so that season gets short. So it's like my seasons are so shifted because of that. So it's like, I'm trying to enjoy summer. Yeah, it is marketing. Yeah. And I'm like, I want fall.
I know. I feel like my summer is evaporated. Oh, I never even finished the rest of the story.
Oh my God,
the plot
I'm sorry.
Thickens.
The plot thickens.
Yeah. So
sorry about that tangent.
No, you're good. This was a good tangent. So So we're getting ready to leave for Wyoming. And she's like just kind of in a mood because she like wrote us this eviction notice and we're just like not paying attention to it. Like we're just pretending it didn't happen.
Were you kind of waiting for her to forget?
Honestly, sometimes you'd never know with her. Like sometimes she'll do that in like a fit of rage and like not remember it at all.
Yeah.
But she was definitely in a mood and she was definitely like, I'm like, how are you? And she's like, I'm fine. Like just
that's kind of iconic behavior.
She's just, and we call her the queen. So like, we'll be like, oh, the queen's in a mood. Like
my God,
queen's having an emo day. So she's just doing that all day. And then at some point she's like, Chloe, when you have some time, we really need to talk about something. And I'm like, okay, whoa. Like, what do you want to talk about? She's like, we will talk. And just like,
the drama.
Yeah, no, she's so drama.
Love that too.
So we never talk before we leave. While we're gone, I told her we're going to be in Wyoming. I put it on her calendar, all the things. And I get these 2 voicemails from her, maybe 3, but 2, for sure, voicemails from her. I should have pulled up the transcription because it's really funny. But
Correct.
basically, she's telling me, I'm not your grandma anymore. You need to find somewhere else to live. And you've done this to yourself. This is like, all these things like, but I'm sorry, but you can't come back here anymore. Just she's done this shit with like everybody in our family.
Right.
My dad, my sister, my mom, like everybody.
Right. Yeah.
She just is like, yeah, she just gets to the, I'm gonna cut you off.
Yeah,
like,
she gets
dead to me.
Yeah, the scissors are always in her back pocket.
Yeah,
just to be like,
yeah, no.
Yo, that was insane. That was cute. Love that.
But no, that's an exact interpretation of her.
Yeah.
So we are sitting at the lake at Jenny Lake in Wyoming, just having a good old day. We'd gone on like a big hike. Like it was so lovely.
I'm so happy
and
for you.
It was so nice.
Yeah.
And so then I see these voicemails and I'm like, oh my God. And so I tell Kevin. And so his first response is like, well, let me check the cameras. Because we have cameras in the living room and in her room to like check on her to see if she's fallen.
Right. No, that's fair.
And
does she know?
Yes.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Whether or not she remembers,
up in the air at this point.
Gray.
We never know.
I honestly don't care to remind her. So I told her, Kevin likes to like watch these things like it's fucking social media.
Oh,
like
okay.
he gets on and he's just watching her on the cameras just to
like,
see what's going on.
He's like at work in his scrubs, like,
No.
I need a little entertainment on my break.
No, but really, and he's like, well, she's feeding whiskey again. Or, like she's just whatever it is.
Yeah. This is like Big Brother reality show, by the way, but like with an 90 something
92.
year old woman. Oh,
yeah, 92-year-old.
That's crazy.
Eastern European war child.
I love that.
So
anyway, sorry.
We check on the camera. She's sitting on her bed,
Mm-hmm.
papers like spread everywhere. Like she has this folder, papers all around her on the bed. She's on the phone with someone. She's like telling them, she's like, they took my papers from my house. They know what they want. They want my properties and they're trying to make me dead.
Did she call? All right, now I'm putting down the coffee.
So now,
is she accusing you of attempted murder?
yes.
Oh my.
So
is this for real?
this is real.
Okay, just keep going.
Yeah. So she's I don't know who she's talking to.
Right.
To this
FBI.
day, we cannot figure out who she was on the phone with. So whoever she's talking to, she's going on and on and on. And she's like telling them, well, I'm 92. And you can tell they said like something to the effect of like, oh, no way. She's like, yeah, I never drink alcohol. I never telling like she just goes to this place of like bragging about everything that she's done right in her life.
Okay.
She goes to her like high horse God complex anytime she gets a compliment.
Wow.
So if you ever want to like get on her good side, just feed that.
Okay. Yeah.
She'll love it.
Oh yeah, totally.
So she's telling them her life story and then basically then goes back to the house stuff saying like, we're trying to make her dead. We're trying to kill her, that we live with her and it's me and my boyfriend and then my sister and her boyfriend and we all live here and we're trying to kill her.
Oh, she thinks Polly's in on it too.
Yes.
Wow, she's giving you guys a lot of credit.
A lot of credit.
For the amount of time you're spending plotting her death.
Yeah. So I'm like, it wouldn't be hard.
Yeah.
Like I wouldn't have to spend this much time
Jesus
plotting.
Christ.
No, that's really bad. But anyway, so she tells them, well, like, who do I call to report this? And basically they give her a number for like lawyers, and the number that we heard her write down, because she's telling them the number. She's also yelling at them, slow down. No, go back. I only got like, she was freaking out on this person, poor person.
Oh,
whoever
my
this person
God.
was. I think one of the numbers they gave her was for a hospital.
Oh, but like they're like, oh man, this lady is not well.
Yes. So
Jesus.
not only, so they gave her a number for a lawyer and then I think a number for a hospital, but then they told her like, if you want to like make a police report, you call 911. And that's what I'm gathering that they said based on what her responses were. So then she says, okay, but what comes before 911? Do I put 503? And I just
the Portland area code, by the way.
Yeah, the Portland area code. So I lost it.
503 911.
Yeah, 503 911.
I'm gonna call that.
Yeah,
just to see what happens.
just make sure you get the local department.
Obviously.
So then we turn the cameras off at that point.
Right.
So then she calls me again. After this.
Oh,
so I'm like,
okay.
all right. Okay.
Yeah.
So at that point we're back in the car. We're heading back to our hotel. And Kevin's like, just answer it. So basically I answer and she's like super emo. She's like, we can't do this anymore. We can't live together. And you know why? And basically repeating everything that she said already on the voicemail.
Right.
And I was like, okay, yeah, but I still don't know what papers you're talking about, but I think I saw them in your room. Okay. So maybe I can help you look for them when we get home. Right. Or maybe they're in your walker because she likes to bring her will to Costco.
Seriously, sometimes you say things and they just absolutely stop me in my tracks. What is the will going to do at Costco?
She just has to keep it with her. But the funny part is she acts like that's the only copy. Like the lawyers at the office don't have their own copy of her will.
Okay. Yeah.
So, anyway, so she thinks like if anyone has this in their possession, like that's the only copy.
Right.
So anyway, she has it with her.
Dude, the paranoia is so real with her.
So deep.
Yeah.
So
that's probably the dementia, let's be honest.
And also she's always kind of been like this. Like she doesn't want her neighbors to know her name because of like communist things. Like she thinks that, like your neighbors will report you and those kind of things. So like it runs deep. So I mean, that's kind of valid. Yeah, I get it. Yeah. But it's also
it's just weird to live with because we know.
Yeah. So I tell her, I'm like, okay, we'll help you look for it. She's like, okay. And I'm like, have you eaten anything today? Because we've noticed like a distinct patterning. If she has not eaten or she has not slept, she turns into a toddler.
Oh, that's relatable as well, though.
Yeah, I mean, same.
Yeah.
So she is like, well, no, I just had a piece of bread and a glass of milk, and I didn't sleep all night because I was just up thinking. And I'm like, okay.
Oh, God,
I'm like, so I think that it would be really good for you to get, for her, everything comes back to good nutrition. Okay. So I'm like, I think it'd be really important to have some good nutrition. Right. There's lots of yogurt and fruit and eggs, and you still have soup that you made. Right. I think you should eat a big dinner. Yeah. I think you should go the fuck to bed.
Take a nap, girl.
Go to bed.
Yeah. Go to bed. Put yourself to bed.
Put yourself to bed. Yeah. She's like, wow, I think it's so much better when we talk. I think like this is like when we talk where things are just like so much better. So we should like stay in touch. And I'm like, okay. Yeah. So she just like spirals. Okay. So then jump to the next part of the story. We get a message from Michael, my sister's partner. Right. Polly and Michael live next door to us. Yeah. We live with Baka.
And we love them.
So we are giving them a heads up that this is all happening. Mm-hmm. So then they send a cop out to the house to do a wellness check.
Okay, you gave me no warnings.
I told you I had a good Baka update.
I can't believe you held this in. So keep going.
Michael says, hey, I was able to intercept the cop before he went into the house and kind of give him a little bit of backstory on the situation. So we're like, okay, so we're staying tuned. And then we get another text from Michael saying, okay, talked to the cop after he left. Sounds like she's definitely very like spun up. From being probably alone in the heat and not eating. So he's like, so I put my business card on her fridge. Okay. To make her feel better. Oh. But also, mind you, this is not the first time she's called the cops on the family.
Right.
So a couple years ago, she called the cops on my dad's partner, saying that my dad's partner was like trying to steal her houses and all these things after her properties. They were never married. She's like a very like successful, independent woman. Yeah. My dad's partner at the time. Yeah. Like, it's not after this woman's
doesn't need houses.
No, doesn't need them.
Yeah, doesn't need them.
No, her house alone.
Her house is stunning.
Yeah, her house is dope. Her house alone probably is like far like higher worth than both of Baka's houses combined.
Correct. And that location?
So, fire. Yes. Yeah. So anyway, so she gets a phone call that she interprets to be someone telling her that she has, quote, lived enough. Take that for what you will. So she decides, oh, that must have been my dad's partner.
Obviously.
So she called the cops and made a report. Polly gets home. This is going on such a tangent. Polly gets home from taking my dad to the ER. Because he fell and cracked his head open.
Oh, metal.
And had to get a bunch of stitches in the back of his
pretty spot on
shiny bald head. So Polly's getting home from that, or it was the same day as that. I can't remember the exact, I think it was as she's getting home. Anyway, she sees cops at the house, and the neighbor is like, oh yeah, by the way, there's cops at Baka's house. Is everything okay? And Polly's like, I don't fucking know, man.
I never know.
So she goes and investigates what's going on. And the cops are like, is there like bad blood or drama between your grandmother and your dad? And Polly's like, I don't even know how to begin to answer this question.
It all started the day my dad was born.
Yeah. But actually, they just have it out for each other.
Yeah.
I mean, the amount of times they've both cut each other out of each other's lives is...
Long story short, yes.
Yes. And Polly's like, well, yes, but not to the point of murder. Yeah. So I don't know how to answer this. And especially not his girlfriend.
This is like,
so unhinged. So point being, they have a record of like these type of phone calls.
Right.
So it's like kind of helpful.
Right.
That it's like, okay, they're not going, they can recognize that this is like a paranoid woman.
Right.
She's elderly. She's in her 90s. She's got dementia.
Yeah.
Although she's like pretty, I would say early onset, but still like, so I think honestly, the more she's making these phone calls, the more it is discrediting her story.
But honestly, that's also making it less work for you guys.
Yeah, it's less stressful for us because now I'm not worried that there's like an investigation out that I might be offing my grandmother.
Yo, accusing you of murder is next level.
Yeah.
That's next level.
Yeah. Like plotting.
I just really thought
I'm a planner, but like that's not one I have planned.
Yeah. Again, like I just really can't picture you and like your little scrubs like, okay, and then I'm going to like put poison in her food here. And then I'm going to do, you know what I'm not giving you ideas, you're a murderer.
No, I had a dream though that I gave her Seroquel, which is like basically like a calming med that we give to, like it sometimes knocks people out.
Okay.
But like we give it to people, like some people get it when they have like really bad insomnia, but most of the time when we give it, it's like to people with Alzheimer's or some kind of dementia that are sundowning really bad.
Oh yeah.
And so they're like starting to go a little cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. Like at bedtime.
Does she struggle with like at night? Like
no, she doesn't do the sundowning.
Great.
Yeah. So
does she go to the doctor?
No, she used to.
Okay.
But now that she knows she's not going to get a perfect like clean bill of health, she refuses to go.
Oh.
So she used to up until about maybe 7 years ago.
Yeah.
Kept her blood work on the table, her lab work to show people when they came over to show like what perfect health she had. But I think as soon as, so she fell and broke her hip a couple years ago.
I remember that. Yeah.
Like 4 years ago now, maybe. And then I think when they were doing like, because they do a pan scan, like they scan everything, they scan the head to make sure she didn't hit her head. There's evidence of an old, pretty massive stroke, but probably as old as like 20 years ago.
Whoa.
Which I'm sure there's like, I think I remember my parents talking about like something's not right with her.
Yeah, something's going on up in there.
For the most part though, she really had no deficits following that stroke.
Yeah.
But I think when they had that conversation, I don't think she remembers that or she's like blocked it out. But I think because of that, she is like, oh, well, now I don't have a perfect you know,
bill of health
at the doctor.
Right.
Now she like refuses to go.
Can you imagine what maybe like, listen, I'm not trying to say pump her full of drugs, but I wonder if she were to go to the doctor, she could get medication.
If she could get a mood stabilizer, she would benefit so much from a mood stabilizer because she'll have like days at a time where she's just crying all day long. And then she has days where she's manic and she wants to go look at a house down the street that she wants to buy.
Oh, I don't know if 92 is the time or this market is the time to purchase a house, to be honest with you. Like Baka, the economy. Are you kidding me?
And you're on Social Security, which robbed you. Let's just say that.
Yeah, I'm not sure that'll...
It's a no.
No.
So anyways,
it just makes me sad for her though. Cause like like all jokes aside, which by the way, I have this thought of like the thinking out loud as like partners in a creative project. If we had like a whole like little saved story section of just like Adventures with Baka.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
That would be a good
like
thing.
revisiting Baka and like what she's up to, and not to make a mockery. It's so like, even you telling the story, like I think that the listeners are just as interested as I am about the fact that you were just accused of murder.
And evicted.
Attempted murder and evicted. So
Yeah.
you're homeless and you're a killer and
Yeah.
you're putting all this on me now.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Happy Sunday.
Oh my God. Is she so, but I just feel like I've been thinking about this, like when you talk about Baka, and I had this thought recently of like, wait, does she go to the doctor? Does she like have a healthcare provider?
Well, so a couple years ago, this was Polly's like thing that she was struggling with that whole thing is, so Polly was trying to get her to go to the doctor because the doctor was calling like, hey, it's time for your 6-month or yearly, whatever.
Right.
And she refused. She wouldn't go. And well, I think Polly's listed as like just like a point of contact because she's been there a few times, and she's honestly is, when I was living out of state, is the main caregiver.
Right.
So, Polly gets a call from the doctor or like the receptionist or whatever saying, hey, like we'd like to get, like, we've been trying to reach your grandma. We'd like to get her scheduled for her checkup.
Right.
And Polly's like, oh, she's right here. Let me put her on the phone. She takes the phone. She's like, I don't need anything from you. Hangs up.
Wow.
Like, so she just, there's like something that's triggering her.
There's something there.
The doctor, where before she was on it.
Right.
But now because it's just, but I also think she's having like mini TIAs which are trans-ischemic accidents, which are little mini strokes.
Got it.
A TIA is what Hailey Bieber had a few years ago.
Oh yeah.
When she was talking about that. So it is a stroke, but it's not CVA, which is like it's like that's like a full stroke, like a much more serious event.
Yeah.
Not that TIAs aren't serious.
Right.
But you can have them more often. And they told us that she's probably having lots of mini strokes, which are TIAs. But there's been like days where I can pinpoint and I'm like, I think she had another one.
Yeah.
No stroke. Like, things are goofy. Like I came home last summer and she was like airing out the house.
Okay.
But not in the typical way that you would think.
What, did she fucking take a sledgehammer to the wall and create a hole?
No, she opened all the kitchen cabinets and the linen closet to air out the house instead of
doors and
windows.
Okay. I appreciate the attempt there. I can see where she was going with it. She just was a couple degrees off.
Correct.
Right. And that's okay.
Yeah.
We love her for it.
Yeah.
I think I could understand it being exhausting though, when you're just on motherfucking vacation and she's like, yo, 503-911. Yeah. My granddaughter's trying to fucking kill me. Do something now.
I'm never going to be able to say just 911 ever again.
Never. I want you to get that tattooed on you somewhere. 503-911. That will be your memorial to Baka if the day ever comes. When the day comes, we lose her.
Oh my God.
Oh my God. Please tell that story if there's any sort of funeral. It's my favorite Baka thing in the world. Yeah. That is adorable. Not to patronize her, but that's kind of adorable.
It is. It is. When you can get like, honestly, like when I can stay like objective with it and not get like sucked into the Delulu.
Yeah.
I'm living in a memory care facility.
You're living in it now. I think that once your living situation or how present Baka is, like once that changes a little bit, I think you're going to be able to look back and be like, oh my God, we lived through that. And it can be like funny, but like I don't want to take away from the fact that like it's fucking hell. So have you guys officially decided fall? Yeah.
So that's the thing. It's just like, it keeps just like magically just getting pushed back like a couple more weeks, one more month. And it's like, I thought for sure we'd be out by like last Christmas. And then I was like, oh, for sure we'll be out by March. Right. And then for sure we'll be out by May. And then now for sure we'll be out by October. I'm afraid that October's fast approaching.
October's almost here. And then you have the holidays.
And then we have the holidays. So so here's the thing. I wanted to be moved before your birthday and Kevin's birthday because I like so badly want to throw that Halloween birthday
the Halloween
bash.
house party. Yeah.
So that's like been my like arbitrary deadline. Right. But I want to be moved before the holidays, but it's also, we have like 2 weekends at the end of August where we're traveling again. And then another weekend or 2 in September where we're traveling again.
Seriously?
And so it's like, Bella and I are going to go to Colorado to see Casey Musgraves.
Oh, cute. Oh my God. So fun. Yeah. So fun.
So, and then Kevin's going to Lost Lands
I don't know what that is.
It's some EDM festival in like the middle of nowhere.
That
he's very excited for it. And It's like one of the biggest ones, I guess.
If it makes him happy,
there's like,
I'm happy for him.
There's like Velociraptor. I don't know.
Okay.
It looks like the Land Before Time, Jurassic Park. I don't know.
Prehistoric.
Yes.
Aesthetic.
Like Lost Lands. And I'm like, okay, that makes sense.
Okay.
But it's somewhere in like Illinois or like not Nebraska, but like maybe Michigan, Ohio.
So like Midwestern.
Yeah.
Midwesty. Okay. Well, that sounds scary, but if that makes him
gonna
happy,
have fun.
Yeah, I'm sure.
He loves it.
Yeah.
So anyway, so just like there's a lot of travel and to touch on like money things, I am like, I feel like I'm just sabotaging myself. Like I'm by not like being proactive about picking up extra shifts, about like budgeting in a way that is setting me up to be able to move out. Yeah. Like I feel like I'm keeping myself stuck and keeping myself small.
I think that like, I mean, we were going to talk about money, but like, I think that is what I was just going to say is that with money, where I'm like this season I'm in right now is really frustrating because right now I haven't been spending a lot this summer. I've been living really simply.
Yes.
And I like have found a lot of peace in that. But then you know what it is? I have a binging relationship. Just like with food, I have it with money where I save and I save, or I do really well. I don't spend a lot of money. And then I see that in my bank account. I'm like, well, fuck it. So like, I just I'm not, this is the most money in my bank. Like, well, was the most money I've had in my bank account for like a while. And then, also my rent hasn't been taken out yet though. So asterisks all over that. Yeah. But I, went and saw like my favorite podcasters last night and I was like, yeah, I can spend $150 on merch. That's fine. And then I like, was like, what the fuck are you doing? You don't need another oversized sweatshirt. You don't need another t-shirt. And like, I was spending money on food. And then like the universe is just like, oh, Kelly, you have a little bit of extra money. Time to get new brakes on your car. My brakes started grinding. So it's like, I mean, and that isn't my fault, but I do feel like I have my relationship with money. If we're going to talk about it right now, that I'm noticing is it's like, I have a binge restrict relationship with it. I save a little bit and then I'm like, all right, I never use Amazon. And then all of a sudden this week, I was like, you know what? I'm just going to, maybe I need to do an Amazon order. What the fuck?
Like, why?
And I fucking hate Amazon. Like, I hate shopping on Amazon.
You know what's my kryptonite? It has been Amazon for a lot of things, but what really is my kryptonite is following these like people who I followed for a long time and they like now have their own brands or like they have their own like clothing. It's usually athletic clothes that get me.
Yeah.
And then they'll do like a capsule drop and it sells out. So I'm like, I love this color. I need it. I need this color.
Capitalism.
And then I'm
finest.
like, I don't need
you don't need the color.
Anything more actually, because I usually just wear black.
Yeah. Same.
No, but I don't need more shit, but I see this stuff and it's like, it's the, and I know this is why they do it, but it's like that, what is it? That mentality, like not limited, but where it's like, it's going to run out. So you have a limited amount of time to get the thing. So it forces you, or like it is like extra motivating to get it.
It's like that.
Or it makes you want it.
And it's a marketing scheme.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just to get us to spend money.
Exactly. And so many companies now follow that model of the like sold out model because it works.
It works so well. I'm a sucker for it.
No, so that's really what it triggers my binging, my binge spending.
Yeah. Mine's like the number. If I see a number on my bank account where I'm like, look at me.
Yeah.
And I've worked so hard to not spend. And like, I don't buy clothes.
Yeah.
I don't buy, like, I am pretty good at not splurging on myself unless it's food or travel.
Okay.
But like, I went to Seattle yesterday and I like spent money that I'm like, it wasn't even that much money. It really wasn't like great, like very normal. It's just that I'm so used to like hoard because things are so expensive that I know I live even in this apartment beyond my means. Yeah. But it's so frustrating. Like, I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with me?
Well, it's like it's the shame spiral too that follows the binge.
Totally.
Which you get with food and you get it with money or spending. It's like this, you're restrict, like what you're saying, and doing so good, quote unquote, not allowing any fun along the way. Yeah. And then all of a sudden you let loose and it's just like,
it's the same thing with eating though, right? You starve and starve and starve. Not you, but like we, the people that struggle with this, starve and starve and starve. And then don't allow yourself a little whatever, occasionally. So then by the end, on your cheat day or whatever, however that looks for you, you fucking eat like you haven't eaten in a month.
Yes.
And you eat all the treats you would have eaten spread throughout the month in one fucking day.
Correct.
And it's so nauseating.
Well, I used to do that, dude. Okay, so there's these crackers at Costco. They're these like almond flour. They're by Simple Mills. They're almond flour crackers. And I swear they also sprinkle crack cocaine in it.
Oh, maybe.
The way they taste, the crunch, the amount of salt, there's like a hint of rosemary, but not that it tastes like rosemary. It just adds this like savory profile. I'm a slut for them.
Right.
Absolutely would prostitute myself for these crackers.
I love that for you. I encourage it.
Had to stop buying them because I would buy the Costco box and I would eat both bags in the week.
Yeah, that's dangerous.
It was, and so then I was like, oh, just remove the trigger.
Right.
But then I'm like, then after I pulled my head out of my ass, it's like, wait, why are you doing this actually?
Right. Well, and I think that you can connect that then back to money, because I do the same thing with money, right? Where I'm like, okay, I'm just not going to spend any money unless I absolutely have to on gas and groceries. I will say that like with food, that works pretty fucking well. Like I don't like spending $200 every 2 weeks at the grocery store, but my eating out fucking plummeted, which was great. But I think that,
and I feel like I love eating out, but I feel better when I'm not eating out. So so when I do eat out, it's much more enjoyable.
Yeah, no.
Does that make sense?
No, it does make sense.
I don't know
Like
if
no, it does. Like if you do anything in excess, it loses its like special, like fun little whatever. So you know, with my spending, it's like I think us talking about money right now is just funny because I'm in this really transition period of my life. Like my current job, my current contract nannying is coming to an end and I'll start a new one. And like, I'm going back to school and I just got all the money for, my loans. And my first fucking thought, because they like let you know, right? Like, hey, your loan was approved. Let's set up your refund. I read that word and I was like, refund? It's going to be thousands of dollars. And I was like, okay, I'm going to Europe. I'm turning 30 this year. I'm going to Europe. And I was like, Kelly, Anne, sit your ass down. Like that thought was the first thing that came to my brain. And I was like, I will never change. I will never grow up. I will never.
But I think no, but actually it's that like rush of thousands hitting your account.
I never have it.
It's like, it's insane what it does to your brain. And then you're like, well, and you start like trying to come up with all the ways how you could pull off the Europe trip and still like somehow make it back, like make the money back for like what you actually pulled it out for, which is to like live while you're going to school.
Well, and I also like did have that moment where I think there's been a bit of growth, is that I think 22-year-old Kelly would have been like, I'm going to Europe. I don't give a fuck. Let's go. Whereas like now, still had the Europe thought. That was still there. But it was also paired with, think about the interest on this loan. Like you don't want it. Like if you have extra money, you should probably either give it back. Or use it to pay off your car. Use it to not pay off my car. My car will never be paid off, but like pay a good chunk of a couple thousand, put it towards your car and the rest just give it back. I did have that thought. Whether or not that happens, 50-50. But it's so crazy that after all these years of struggling and learning about money, my brain still went to Europe. You want to go to, should we just abort? Should we just do it? Should we just, like my brain went into a fucking spiral and it's like, no, Kelly, you're transitioning. You're starting a new job. You're going back to school. You cannot take this money just because it feels good in the moment and it's going to sit in your bank account and run with it. And then the Seattle trip, I was like, I'm going to test myself because I have a little extra money. First thing I did was buy merch and drinks. And I was like, God damn it, Kelly.
But
like I haven't been having fun. But that's where the binging with spending though, I do think it's a little dangerous. Like I'm glad I had fun. I think I've earned it. I've been working my ass off this summer to be more responsible. But it's just interesting patterns, right? I'm noticing patterns about myself that it's like, I don't know that I'm ever gonna heal fully or I don't know if my mindset around money, like I think that's always going to be there, that like, if I have a little bit to spend, what can I spend it on? Instead of just relax. The money isn't come on my bank account yet. So I think talking about it's going to help.
But there is that feeling of like, it's burning me alive, eating me alive to like have this just sitting here.
Right.
Which is interesting because it's like, all I want is to have this like security of like a savings account or like investments that are growing, which I don't have anything.
I don't know anything about that. But yes, I know that's
like,
important.
That's the ideal, right? But then the second there's excess, I'm like, what can I buy?
Why are we like this?
It's just, well, and okay, so this realization I had after I've been kind of like, I re-listened to our money episode and I re-listened to some of our body image episodes.
Should we call this episode Money Part 2? Money Revisited?
Like money follow-up. Yeah, I like that.
We
like
got a lot of good
revisiting.
Feedback. Yeah. I think people like talking about money because it's fucked up and weird and it's unavoidable.
Yes.
You know?
But there was something that you said in the body image episodes about not being able to stay consistent in the gym. Right?
Yeah.
Or stay consistent with like things that you want to do for your health.
Update, still true.
Well, and I was just like, I'm like, wow, that's really interesting. Like, cause that's not something that I struggle with anymore. I felt like I used to, but I don't necessarily struggle with that anymore. But then I had this light bulb. I'm like, I do that with money. I do that with money. I do not like, you're like, I know that I need to work out to live longer. I know that I need to eat healthier to like, you know, preserve my body and not get like diseases. I know these things objectively and consciously, whatever, but my actions take me a different way. I do that with money. And I was talking about it in therapy a couple weeks ago. I was like, I just like, I know, because I had that realization. So I was telling her, I'm like, I know that like, I do the same thing. And it's like, I know that if I want these things, if this is my goal, like if I want this, like, you know, to happen in the next year, the next 5 years, the next 10 years, if I want my life to look a certain way, why am I not doing that today? Because I have this mindset with like my health where it's like, it's not like a quick fix finish line. It's a lifelong commitment. It's like, I want to be a healthy person. I'm not trying to like, it's a marathon, right? It's not like a sprint.
Yeah.
So why am I not approaching my finances that way?
Yeah.
And then she asked me, she's like, well, what are some of your goals? Like, what do you want this year? What do you want next year? What do you want in the next 5 years? And I'm like, so we're talking about that. And then she's like, are those items like budget lines in your, do those specific things have their own line in your budget? And I was like, no.
Nope.
Yeah. No. And so it's like, if I'm like wanting to save for this thing next year, like, why am I not actively putting like $5, $10, $20 towards it every month?
Right.
And even though that doesn't feel like a big amount, that's still more than what I've heard or what I've had before.
But
it still is, there's that like block.
Right.
But then it goes back to, I think I'm just sabotaging myself because I've never been like secure that way. And so I'm like, I don't know. I think there's part of me that isn't ready to feel secure.
Oh, interesting. But
like the thriving in the chaos.
Do you think that you are someone that you like do thrive in the chaos? And
well, the chaos is familiar, but I hate it.
Right. Okay. So it's interesting. It's almost like you like with your health, like that was it was easier for you to take the reins on that one. I still like, you know, I don't think anyone has health figured out. Right.
No,
like I think that
I don't think I have that figured out at all. Like I still am constantly trying new things or like mixing things up or because it's like, if something's not working, I'm not going to stick with it. Well,
and I think that things like health and money, things that like are the foundation of living a fulfilled life or just like whatever that looks like for you. I think it's a huge red flag when someone says or acts like they have it figured. Not that you've said that, but like I think it would be a red flag if you were like, no, I got my health on lock. It's done. Like that's impossible.
Correct.
That's impossible.
Well, that's like someone that we know that said that I've done all the
growth I've ever needed to do.
Yeah.
I'm never going to grow again in my life because I have grown and this is who I am. That's a crazy thing to say.
At 50.
At any age,
but like, damn.
Like that's crazy. And so I think that with health and money, what's so important is, you know, where I've experienced walls is when people are like, well, this is what I have done. And that is what you should do because I have it figured out. When people talk to me about money that way, I'm like, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Health, same thing. Like, it's ever evolving.
Yeah. Or it's like taking advice from people who aren't where you want to be. I don't know if we've already talked about that, but like, if you're not somewhere where I want to be financially or with my body or with my like spirituality, any of those things, like, I'm not going to take advice from you probably because you haven't figured out a way to get where I want to go.
And we have completely different goals, right? Like where you want to be in 5 years with finances isn't where maybe I want to be in 5 years with finances. And like, you know, so many people in my life are starting to like have babies and want to buy a house. And like, that's not even on my fucking radar right now. So like, I think again, like not to bring it back to like I think that not being like, I'm a person that has things figured out and I'm going to give you advice. It just doesn't work because everyone is on such a different path. And so like with money, I think it's very much a personal thing and it's very much devoted to your goals. And it's just like health where it takes tweaking. I think that's why you were able to connect your relationship with money to what I was speaking about with body, is that health and money are so intertwined. Yeah,
because it comes back to the same emotions.
Yes.
And there was something that we talked about as far as like you mentioned, you articulated this, that having the discipline gives you more freedom.
Yeah.
And I thought of, because you were talking about with money. That was in our money episode.
It was, yeah.
And then I was thinking about like, I had a really hard time when there started to be this like intuitive eating movement or like stop tracking everything. Like I had a hard time with that.
Right.
Because I'm like it just felt like not intuitive for me, or like, I was like, what do you mean?
Yeah.
And then I realized like, oh, these people that are saying this are the people who have been like so down the restriction path, like so down like the calorie counting, so down the like tracking everything.
Calorie deficits, all of that.
But it's like they learned the discipline.
Right.
And it's like, it's that advice works for people who have been overly disciplined. I think you have to let the pendulum swing and go back and forth so much until you land in the middle. Absolutely. Like for those people where they are in their journey, are like they've swung so far into the discipline that it's not healthy anymore.
Loosen the grip, babe.
But I still need to learn the discipline money wise.
Yeah, absolutely.
So like, I think I do still need to be a lot more disciplined, a lot more like rigid in some ways to like learn that skill and what that feels like, so that like when I do loosen the reins a bit, I'm not afraid of what I'm going to do.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like I can trust myself, because I have the tools at that point.
And building the trust with yourself is key. I got to take a pause. I got to go pee.
We're peeing.
Oh my God.
We're peeing. Yeah. Okay, so pendulum swinging, discipline.
Yeah.
I don't think I had more to say.
Building. Yeah. I think that the last thing I will say, or not the last thing, but like putting that all together. I think that again, with money, it comes like, for me, it's the same thing with my eating disorder stuff. Is like, I need to build fucking trust. I need to build trust with myself and prove to myself that I can show up. And you know, I think that this could be a money and body conversation, but I think that what we're really coming down to is that they are both linked so intimately to each other. But like with money, it's like, I have to call myself out, you know, recognizing that I have money coming in right now. And my first thought was like, how the fuck am I going to spend this when I'm trying to get my life together? Like, I think that's the part, honestly, I'm feeling really frustrated about, is that I feel like this year has been a year of getting my fucking shit together after 4 years of having none of my shit together and really trying to learn a lot about myself. And it's like, okay, I'm taking my ducks and I'm lining them up with the like knowledge and like awareness that it's not going to be perfect. And I get a little bit of money for a very important reason. And I'm like, spend it. That's gross. And I haven't done it yet. And I think that is where there is growth, is that I'm not going to fucking do that. Probably. But I really am using this as like a test of like, I need to fucking prove to myself that I have come far and I've learned at least a little bit about money. And at the end of the day, for me, as much as I want to go to, like, let's use Europe as an example, my brain is always in this place of like planning a trip to Europe. I want to be anywhere but here all the time. And it's like, well, wouldn't it feel so much better if I were to go to Europe on my own coin instead of a loan from a gross slimy bank that is charging me 20% interest because I want to go to a year-long program at the local college. I'm not going to be able to, I know I won't be able to enjoy Europe to the extent that I deserve and that I've worked for if it's, on this quick buck.
And the underlying like shame that you're putting on yourself for doing it in that way.
If I'm going to go to like,
even if you gave yourself permission, there'd still be underlying like, God, you're such a piece of shit for doing this.
I would be in Greece sipping an Aperol Spritz being like, well, 20% interest rate on all of this money I'm using to be enjoying my time. I hate myself for this. I could have used this money to pay off my car, to pay off some of my debt. Like what the fuck? Giving it back. I know for a fact that I think because I have so much guilt and shame around how I have spent money in the past, what's going to end up happening is whatever I get back, half of it's going to go to paying off some of my car. And then I'm going to give the rest back because I can't handle how much debt I'm taking on because this loan was only for $15,000. If we're just being honest and talking money, $15,000 for a 1-year program. I think I should be getting about 6 or 7 back. And I think that I just know for a fact that I'm not going to be able to handle the guilt of like, oh my God, this is more debt. This is the interest, like a $15,000 loan is going to end up being like with interest, like a $24,000 loan in the end. I might as well just start giving it back.
How much is the interest on your car? Probably a lot lower.
Interest on my car is lower, but it was a bigger loan. Like my car was, I took out a loan for 26.
Oh, that's exactly how much my car loan was.
And it's a 6-year loan. Okay. And I've never missed a payment. Yeah. And actually, funny fact. So this does tie into money.
I remember this story. This is funny.
If there's anything I want people to learn about me, it's that sometimes and I mean this in the most self-deprecating, I'm not talking shit about myself. Yeah. You don't need to say, I'm a fucking idiot sometimes, dude. I just am like, oh my God. So it's my first time taking out a big loan, right? Because like with college, it's just FAFSA. I just sign papers and pretend that it's not real, that I just signed away my life.
Yeah,
but
I know the feeling.
God. But the car loan, I had always bought like burner cars that like, I bought them with cash or whatever. So I'd never taken out an auto loan. Did it through my bank. And I was like, yeah, sure. Like $26,000 isn't a big deal. Awful. Interest was like kind of high. I think I might be making up this number. I feel like my interest is like 14% to 16%. It's kind of high, but not terrible. But so take out the loan and with finances, this is me really airing out my shit. I sometimes like to just not check my bank account or not look into anything that has to do with money because it always leads to stress. Don't even get me on the tangent of me taking out a loan for school was the biggest pain in the ass. Also because I'm a dumbass. And so, I was just like, okay, great. Like my car payment is like $350 a month. That's fine. And it'll just auto pay. So I don't even have to think about it. That money will just disappear and I won't have to do anything. But then my first 3 months of having this car loan, I was like, yo, I'm fucking broke. And like, I'm always broke, but this was a different level of broke where I was like, what the fuck is going on here? Why do I have no money every month in the beginning of the month? Took me 3 months because I don't check on my finances because I want to live in a land of Delulu that everything's fine and nothing will go wrong with money because it stresses me out so much that when I finally looked into it, I had auto pay set up for the first of the month and the 15th of the month. So I wasn't paying $350 a month for my car loan. They were charging me twice and I was paying $700 a fucking month. $700 a month, which like I know for some people is like a normal car payment. Not when you're a nanny. That's crazy. And the only reason I could get by was because at the time I was living with my partner and his mother and I was living rent free. Yeah. And it's like positive spin. Yeah. I chipped away at the loan. Let me tell you, sister, first couple thousand gone in a few months because I was spending so much money. But I think that is another lesson or like another thing that I've realized about myself is that like, I'm like, it's fine. I'm just not going to look at it and everything will be okay with the money because it's so stressful for me. I'm just banking on nothing going wrong. Right. And I've had a lot of really frustrating long phone conversations with different people because I just am like, nope, out of sight, out of mind. Toxic. So crazy.
But you figured it out.
I mean, but like I could have not been on hold for 3 fucking hours, multiple days of the week trying to figure out what the fuck is going on.
Could have avoided that.
yeah, I feel like if there's any advice I can give anyone, like with money, it's going to go wrong. So just like, don't live in the land of Delulu. It's not a fun place to be, you know?
Fair.
Yeah.
Fair. Another thing that I kind of had tied together between the money and the eating.
Oh, yeah.
And also to the ADHD is the like that looking for the dopamine hit that we talked about.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And then I realized something that did help me with eating. It definitely got toxic, but something that did help me was fasting.
Yeah.
Intermittently to like, it helped me with the oral fixation. It helped me learn, which feels backwards. Like it helped me not feel like I had to have something in my mouth all the time, but it's because I created a structure around eating, which I thought was helpful. In the same way that I'm thinking like a structure around money could be helpful.
So how does that structure with money look for you? Like, I mean, I know that, again, I don't believe in talking about things like they're figured out and you're on your money journey and everyone is forever. Yeah. But if you're thinking about wanting to create a structure around money, what does that look like?
Right. It to me, well, it's like identifying where like the spending, like, so with the fasting thing, I just wanted to also say it was like so much about that dopamine hit that it led to the binging. So I think that there's with money, there's like this, okay, I need some structure, right? Yeah. But like too much structure or too much fasting is going to lead to the binge and that dopamine hit because I've gone so long without it.
It's always like the extremes of the pendulum swinging. Yeah. With everything I'm realizing. Yeah. So anyway, keep going. But yeah, the pendulum was, if you let it swing one way too far, you're going to collapse. It's not sustainable. And
then the other thing, what was it? No. Don't be sorry. Cause that I think is so important. It's the, okay. So that structure piece.
Yeah. Restricting legend.
So then we talked about also, with body stuff, like you not liking a certain type of working out, but really liking another type. And so like doing the one that doesn't feel good is a barrier to consistency.
Yeah.
Okay. So apply that to my way I've been trying to budget.
Interesting.
There's a barrier to consistency, clearly.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Where like whatever, like for whatever reason, this method, I resent it. I don't like it. Okay. So I'm not staying consistent with it.
And you don't know what that reason is. Like
I'm trying to figure it out.
Okay.
But I am struggling with it. I think part of it, let's say I'm doing it on a weekly basis.
Yeah. Like budgeting.
Okay. Sitting down with my money, looking at my spending, checking in to see if I'm on track. Which I do that with like my workout plan.
Right.
Like I put in my calendar for the week, like the days I'm going to work out, what workouts I'm going to do, which days are my rest days.
Cute.
I put all that in there.
Yeah.
With money, let's say I'm like, okay, like Sundays, I'm going to sit down and I'm going to do my budgeting. If I don't do it on that day, it's like what you were saying. If I miss one day, then it's permission granted to off the rails. I'll never go back.
Shopping spree.
So then not even shopping spree, to just not look at it. Like the avoidance.
I see. Yeah.
And then every time I spend money, then I feel guilty.
Right.
Which I'm wondering if maybe the spending is like the eating. Like, so then every time I spend it, I feel guilty because I have no idea where it is, like where I'm at with my budget and what I've like set out to do for the month.
Right.
And then I go so long like this. Okay. So at the end of every month, Kevin and I, we use this app called Splitwise where we, it's a way to kind of like tally, like, okay, I picked up groceries for this much. We split it equally. And then he'll put in like the things that he spent that we split equally. And then at the end of the month, it'll say basically who owes which person. Like how much. It's a really helpful app.
That's
so
sick.
We do it with Polly and Michael also because we'll, and then Kevin and I do it with each other. Yeah. So it's like, cause you think like, oh, I got groceries last time. He'll get groceries this time. It evens out. But it's like, we get to the end of the month. Sometimes a couple of times we did it. And it's like one of us owed the other person like hundreds of dollars.
Wow.
And you just think, oh, it evens itself out.
Right.
It doesn't.
It doesn't.
It does not even out.
I don't like that.
No.
Justin is very much that way of like, oh, well, like, I'll get the coffees this time and then you'll catch me next time. And it's like, I don't like that because I don't have the memory to do that. And I don't have the memory to track.
What if last time we only got coffees, this time we're getting treats? That's $20.
Exactly. And nobody has the brain capacity when you have all this other shit going on to remember for it to just trust that it'll balance out. I hate that shit. Like if we're going to do it, like when we go grocery shopping, I think an app is way more efficient, but I'm old school, keep the receipt and I go through and I fucking math that shit out. And I'm like, you owe me this, send it now. And I am weird about it where I'm like, oh, you said you're going to pay me? Instantly pay me. Yeah. There's no weirdness with money. If I owe someone money, I want to pay them immediately for that reason. Because I have this fear that it doesn't balance out. And clearly it doesn't.
No, and it doesn't.
Yeah.
And it doesn't. So we use that app and at the end of the month, we settle up. Yeah. So like whoever owes at the end will pay that person. And it's usually not that much difference. It's like a couple $100, which is like a big difference, but it's not like someone owes someone $1,000. Because throughout the month, we'll try to be like, hey, I've gotten groceries, like I got groceries all last week. Like, I need you to pick this one up. Yeah. Whatever. Or like, I'm really fucking behind on bills and I have $200 to my name. I cannot get us groceries.
Well, and I was going to say that I do think it's important though. Like everyone's different in terms of like how much of the, like Justin's always like, hey, it's only $20 I spent on Amazon. And I'm like, that is a half a tank of gas though. Yeah. You fucker. Like a couple $100 for, at least for me, deal. That is my car payment. That is my cell phone bill. Like that is a huge deal.
No, it is.
Money is money.
Money is money. And it's like, I have a limited amount and I have goals that I'm trying to hit.
Exactly.
So anyway, so at the end of June, we didn't settle up. And then and then I was like, because I was putting off the budget because it was so overwhelming because it's been so many weeks since I went in line by line and entered all my spending. Right. And then it just got to the point where now we're in August. Yes. And I went to go sit down with my budget. And every time I went to go sit down, I was like, well, today's a great day to organize the garage.
Ooh, and you are avoiding.
So avoidant. Ooh. And then it's like, oh, well, today I should take all of Baka's clothes to the laundromat and finally get that done because that's been on my list for a year and a half.
You're literally doing everything you can to not deal with money.
It's so bad. And it's like, then I finally have a day, like then my next day off. And it's like, wow, you haven't had a rest day. You should just rest today.
You should rest or you should find the cure for cancer before you work on your budget.
Why don't you sit down and like, you know, like anything else. Anything else. Yeah. It reminds me also of like when I would try to like when I lived on my own and I would try to like sit down and do like homework or do something like this where I need to sit down and do it. Right. Yeah. But I'm like, oh, I should deep clean the bathroom. Yeah. I should go through the linen closet and all the toilet, the bathroom stuff. And I should do a deep dive and like reorganize that whole thing. I should go through our storage. Yeah. I should go to Goodwill today. Anything.
I should heal the relationship with anyone I've ever had turmoil with because that would be easier than focusing on the thing I hate the most in life.
I haven't texted this person back in 2 years and I know that I haven't. Today's the day.
Today's the day.
Today's the day. And I'll send the message, but then I can't reply to their reply.
Obviously, why would you?
Dude, I actually was thinking about that. I kind of want to make like a TikTok of like, if I haven't texted you back in the last few years. Yeah. I know. Yeah. I remember. Yeah. I know everyone who I have not texted back in the last few years. Yeah. And it eats me alive. Oh. And it is so overwhelming to reply. Because what do you say? Honestly, Polly and I have this joke because she and I both struggle with this of just reply like there's been like as if you're replying in the moment. Like just don't even acknowledge the few years.
No, that's my favorite thing ever. Yes.
And you're just like, oh, hey, what's up? How you been? Yeah. I'm doing great. Thanks for asking. Yeah. Like, even though there's been 3 years in between these messages, I'm aware. I know that I haven't replied to you. Yeah. And it's so overwhelming. Yeah. Yeah. So anyway, back to avoiding.
Yeah. You're avoiding hard, my dude.
Hard.
And we need to find the why.
I know. Yeah. So
not in a bad way. I just think it's like, I love those moments where I'm like, fuck, man, I am doing something toxic. Why?
Yes. But to be real, it's like, in the moment, I have those moments like you talked about in our last couple episodes where it's like, literally, I want this thing. Fuck it. My plans, my long-term plans don't matter. Yeah. And it's just like, fuck it. I'll buy this thing. I'll do whatever. And it's like, it goes back to that dopamine hit. But I think there is some sort of barrier to the consistency. I think part of it is I haven't found, I think what I really want is I want to learn how to use Excel
Nice.
Because I think the way I understand it, I think once I learn it or like find someone else's template that I could use in it and understand how that works, I think I will love it, to be honest.
Yeah.
And I started to like look up ones like on like Pinterest or Etsy or YouTube or like TikTok of like people's ones that they're using.
Yeah.
Cause I think I don't like the method that I'm using. Like, I don't like the way it structures it. It's there, but not. It's like close. And so anyway, so it happens like what you were saying, where I miss 1 week and then next week I'm like, well, I know it's 2 weeks of expenses that I have to go in and log. Yeah. That's overwhelming. Yeah. Probably shouldn't do that. Probably should clean the garage instead.
Obviously.
And then before you know it, it's been 6 weeks. And now I have no idea what I've spent any money on for the last 6 weeks, except for I'm just going to go through and line item all the groceries and gas that Kevin and I are splitting and at least do the bare minimum. Yeah. What I am accountable for because I have money owed to me that way. Right. So there's something exciting. It's like doing your taxes because you know there was a return.
I love that call out. No, I absolutely love that. That's so real. Like I'll budget if it means that I get money back in the end to feel better. And so that I can later on down the road spend it.
But here's the thing that's like literally asinine. Like if I stayed on my budget, I would have money to play with.
Yeah.
And I would have a savings.
Control which equals freedom.
Yes, exactly. Control structure equals freedom.
It does.
Discipline equals freedom. And so when I'm doing this, I have no savings and I just feel like shit about myself every single month.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we really do have like very mirrored things with like, I think that we both struggle with body stuff and money stuff, but I think that we beat each other up for the opposite ones more. Like you carry more weight around how you handle money. And like, I struggle with money stuff just like you do, but that one I'm kind of like, because no. That downplays it. It does eat me alive, but I think that for me, the body one eats me alive more. But what's funny is that they really are one and the same.
Yes, because it's the exact same patterning.
Yeah,
it's the same approach. It's the same like, well, I didn't go one day.
Yeah.
Fuck the rest.
Yep. Yeah. And I think and it's like that like whole idea of like where we both do avoidance things, like where like, yeah, for me with money, I do live in a land of Delulu to like an extent, but not like I do with my body. With money, it gets to a point where I'm like, fuck this. I need to call someone. What the hell is going on? Yeah. And I take care of my shit.
You can be direct.
I can. Yeah. Body. Yeah. I'm like, well, I could go to the gym. Or I could dust every corner of the house and make sure that it is fucking spotless for the no people I ever entertain that give a shit. But for me. Yeah. Right. And so I think that they are exactly the same and that you and I struggle with both so much, but that it is just the mirrored image.
Yeah.
It's the same. How you're talking about money right now is how I was talking about body image stuff a few weeks ago.
Correct.
Like it's all, it's the same level of fucked.
Yeah. And it wasn't until I sat with it and like listened to it from the perspective of like my issues around money that I could then be like, oh, I get it.
Yeah. This is why podcasting's dope though. Yeah. I was just talking to someone, my mom, maybe Taylor, about how podcasting, it is this like really interesting form of therapy where like we're having these conversations and I'm like, I'm saying things that I don't think I've said out loud that are making me think. Yeah. It's making me fucking think, dude. Yeah. And so I thought it was really exciting when you were like, can we revisit money? Because I did like you were telling me that you had been able to sit with shit and you were kind of like, oh, I have something to say about that. And it sounds like there is this barrier where you're like, avoid. Normal, by the way.
And then shame around what I spend my money on.
Which, and then I wonder sometimes, I think about this with my body image stuff. If like the shame is just another form of avoidance, like instead of me being productive, right? Like instead of me being like, man, I feel like shit. I haven't worked out in a minute. I need to go on a walk. What the fuck ever. I make excuses and find other things to do. And that's the direct avoidance. But then I almost, and I don't want to say that you're in the same way. I'm just speaking for me that then I take on the role of martyr where I'm like, oh my God, I'm such a failure. I didn't go to the gym. I didn't move my body today. And I get all fucking sad. And then I sit on the fucking couch and I escape with TV. So it's like, I wonder, sometimes it feels like me shaming myself is almost more self-manipulation. Like it's another layer of avoidance.
Yeah, because you're allowed to be a victim now.
Exactly. That's what I mean. Like I'm a martyr and I'm like, oh, poor me. And then And it's like, well, I'm not going to do it then.
I'm doing the same thing. I'm bitching about how much I like have to pay out in like student loans every month, and the fact that I can't afford to like live out like and pay rent somewhere. I have to live for free at my grandma's house and go insane while I'm there. But the thing is, if I changed my habits and I changed my approach, I could move out. I could have some independence. I could pay off a loan a little bit quicker to free up some of my monthly expensive and have a little expenses and have more freedom on a month to month basis. And then also be working towards these goals that I have. Right. But I'm not doing any of it.
Right. You're just in this place of like,
woe is me, poor me. Yeah. I have to pay so much money in loans, and that's what's ruining my life.
And it's crazy though how a mindset change, like even just tweaking that mindset a little bit. I do this with myself all the time. I'm going to use you as an example because you just said words, but like living with your grandmother obviously sucks, but also we just talked about how discipline equals freedom. And because you live for free with your grandmother, you do get to pay so much money in these loans.
Correct.
You're chipping away at it so hard that you're getting closer to freedom.
Yes.
And that's the thing that like you always talk about moving out. And I love that for you because I understand, but I'm also like, but dude, if you stay disciplined and you stay at your grandma's and push through the crazy, because it is
just like a little bit
you
longer.
get to live for free.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
I'm so jealous of that because oh my God, I took advantage of living for free with Justin's mother.
Yeah.
Hard.
Yeah.
And I will say that like just even tweaking that mindset of like, yes, it sucks and yes, it's hard, but also you get to pay your fucking bills in a way that like.
And I still do get to like have money that's like free spending money.
Yeah.
Even though it's like, maybe it's only like a couple $100s, it still is, that's a few $100s.
Yeah.
That for a few years, I didn't even have that.
Exactly.
You know, so there is like a lot of benefit.
It's just a mindset change.
It is.
Like
it's a mindset flip.
Like, and I need to do the same. And I do that where I'm like, oh, well, like, you know, you didn't get off your ass today. Well, yeah, but I did rest. I have a really difficult job and I did rest. And that is taking care of myself. And when I allow that mind shift to happen, then it typically leads to me getting off my fucking ass and going for a walk. I'm not even kidding. It's like, it's again, it's that pendulum swinging where it's like when you go too far one fucking way and you sit in this place of like martyrdom or victimhood, whatever you want to call it, you're just honestly like delaying the process even more.
Oh, totally.
You know?
And then I do that same thing though, where I'm like, God, if I'd only like taken the reins 3 years ago, where could I have been now? But I can't do that. That's toxic as fuck because that's where that like saying where like it's like this mantra that I have to say back to myself of like, what's meant for you will not pass you.
Yeah.
I wasn't meant to have done that a few years ago. I was meant to struggle in this way.
Yeah.
And now I've learned so much and I've gotten so sick of my shit.
Yeah.
That like I'm changing my habits or changing my way around it. There has to be that, I think, for some people.
Yeah.
Like, I think I just have to get so sick of myself to actually do anything sometimes.
That's kind of where I'm at with it is like I'm sure people even have picked up on this podcast. I am like Baka and I fucking spiral, right? Her and I on the same level. I want you to call me the queen. She has a Libra moon. Okay, well, you know what?
But she's an Aquarius sun, so she has that God complex like I do. So
I love that self-deprecation for you. But like it's the spiraling out of control. Like I will spiral so hard that I'm noticing as I get older, I'm starting to pick up on this like fact or like this like thing that I do now where it's like I spiral so hard about something that's so out of my control that my response is starting to kind of be honestly. And so I think that,
which is I think that's healthy.
And maybe it's delusional, but sometimes it feels so fucking good.
No. And Kevin has really like helped me get there. Yeah. Because I don't care. Yeah, no, a few years ago I was able to do that because I had like removed all the triggers from my life, but now I'm back in all the triggers and I'm like remembering like, oh, I'm so reactive. Yeah. And so Kevin has helped me be like, hey babe, it's like not that big of a deal. It's actually okay. Yeah. I think he told me that my shit with Baka or like the relationship with Baka, he's like, I think this is a really good opportunity for you to practice like that kind of response, which is to not respond.
Yeah. Like, and don't get me wrong.
Not react.
Yeah.
Like to just be like,
I have to check myself for what I just said. I am in no way saying I don't care. If there's anything I'm always doing about everything, I care. And I'm stressing and I'm spiraling. And I don't think I worded that in the way that I want to. I am stressing so hard about every single thing that has ever happened in my life. So much that it has stopped me from living my life. So I have to adopt, and I'm not doing it all the time. And I don't want anyone to think I'm a cool girl that doesn't care. I care. But sometimes the spiraling and the shame happens so hard that I've hit walls where I'm like, there is literally nothing I can do to change it. And this thing happened 4, 5, 6 fucking years ago.
Oh yeah.
Let it fucking go. Let it go. I'm so fed up with myself and my stressing that same with money. Like I think about that constantly. Like my biggest, like happiest time in my life, or happiest I've ever been in my life, was when I went to Europe with one of my closest girlfriends 5 years ago. Right before the pandemic, I took the only reason I was able to go on that beautiful, wonderful trip is that I took my student loan return money and I ran with it to Europe. And cool, no regrets. Don't ever unwish that I did that. But 29-year-old Kelly, who is just as broke now as she was back then, is kind of like, man, maybe you should have given that money back instead of spending it so that you weren't $60K in debt. You were, I don't know, 52K in debt.
Yeah.
Right. That's a few thousand. And like, I'm going to be in debt for the rest of my life. So like, you know, I have a friend who has that mindset, and there's truth to it. There is. We're all going to die with debt, right? It's a fact. I mean, unless you know, I guess there are some people that don't die with debt, but that's a lot of privilege.
I really don't want to.
I'm
like, that's one of my big goals is to not.
I mean, that's cool, but like that means that you'll never, I mean, yeah, like, I don't know, maybe that is an ability that you will have. That's a lot of fucking privilege if that happens, and discipline. But you know, there is a little bit of like, especially when you're in college, like, fuck it. Like I'm not gonna, you're so broke in your 20s that I do understand, like, I'm gonna die with debt. I'm gonna have debt no matter what. You do deserve to enjoy yourself, but that mindset for me personally is toxic. Because if I have that mindset, I'm gonna fucking run with it, babe. If I'm told like I'm gonna, you know, who cares? Like, we all have debt. It's very normal. That's when I'm gonna take the money I'm about to get in my bank account in a few days, and I'm gonna fucking be in Europe, and this podcast is gonna have to go on pause because I'm gonna be traveling for 3 months. So it's like that. I think there's fact around the fact that everyone has debt. I know realistically I'm gonna die with debt. Like and I'm not really like, listen,
I don't love that.
I'm not interested in being so disciplined that like I have to live a certain way forever to not have debt. Like I don't want to do that. Yeah.
But I don't think your debt is so massive that you can't, I mean, it might be 10 or 15 years until you pay it off, but I don't think it's going to be something you carry for the rest of your life. But also 10 or 15 years feels like a fucking eternity. Don't get me wrong.
10 or 15 years is an eternity. Well, it's not. Like, it's very, I think that I could pay off my debt eventually. It's just, I also am trying to be realistic about the fact that I'm inevitably going to pick up more debt, and my career goals aren't.
In what way? Like, what ways would you inevitably pick up more debt?
I mean, if I get a new fucking car, if I buy a house, I have no interest in buying a house, to be honest with you, but like right now. But like, I mean, I know that a house is obviously an investment, and you can make money off of it, but that scope,
I think our housing market is too fucked up right now to even be like having that part of the conversation. You know, like it's like that has changed so much.
But I'm so broke right now that I'm saying I can't even fathom that right now. Yeah. But if one day, years from now, I decided I don't want to live in New York my whole life in an apartment and be perfectly okay with that, I want to buy a house. Fucking okay, that's debt. Like, I think that our lives are structured around the fact that we are going to take out debt, medical debt. I mean, that's something that's very real as well. Like it is.
But I guess I'm speaking more to the debt that you have right now, like the student loans and the car loan and stuff like that. Realistically, will be done in the next decade to 1 to 2 decades. You know, when you think about it, especially because you're taking out this debt to get a job that pays higher. that will give you more opportunity to pay it
that
down.
I agree with.
So
But
I think that's an important part of the equation.
I guess for me though, it's like the debt to like income ratio when you put interest on it too, because my loans are just growing, right? They are.
Yeah.
And even when I'm at my like career goal, like I finish this program, I get a job, like doing paralegal in the law field. That's great. Like that is, I mean, I'm going to be making like paralegals make like 80 to 90K a year. Nope. That's bold. 70 to 85 maybe a year. That's much better than being a nanny. I'm going to be comfortable. I'm going to be able to chip away at those student loans. But I just, with the way that things are going now with like inflation and the economy and interest, I'm just saying that the money that I make to stay alive and pay off my debt it's gonna take me lots and lots and lots of time. And I just want to be open to the fact that like, I'm probably going to have other things that I'm going to have to go into debt for. My current debt, like maybe I can chip away at it. Sure. But like, I'm fully prepared for the fact that like, it's gonna take me until I'm old to pay it off. If I do pay it off, I'm not trying to be negative. It's more like, I'm just trying to be realistic about it.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm like, and I'm okay with that. It's not like dying debt free is amazing, but like I
want to live debt free for a long time before I'm even talking about dying debt free. Like, I think like a lot of my goals are around like, getting this paid off in the interim, like, and having like these few years where it is like very challenging, or the next like decade where it is like, annoying that I have to like pay this bill. Right. But at the end of the day, like I want to have better habits around money so that I have money set aside so that I don't have to go in debt.
Right.
Like to avoid having to go into it again. Like, I think that's part of like, I took out these loans to set myself up in a better paying job, which I don't think you have to do either. I don't think you necessarily have to like go to school to get a better paying job, but like the things that you and I want to do required higher education. So I think that it makes sense. That is appropriate.
Correct.
I think that then, once we can get past that, like that part where we're paying off debt and like living like very minimally and simply in a lot of ways, then it opens up the door on the other side. Once that debt is paid off, then it's like, then you actually have money to set aside so that like when something big does come up, medical expenses, a car repair, a vacation, like buying things that you enjoy spending your money on. Yeah. You don't have to put it on your credit card and you don't have to take out a loan to do it. Yeah. Because you actually have the income. Right. To afford it. Yeah. Does that make sense?
No, it does make sense. I guess, it's, and it all, I think that largely also does depend on your income though. Yeah. And how much money you're making. Right. Yeah. Right. Like I don't remember what you told me your student, you have to pay a lot in student loans.
It's
right
almost
now, right?
$3,000 a month.
A month. Yeah. That I can't even imagine having the income where I would have $3,000 to pay off a bill in a month. Right. But you're a nurse. Like nurses make dope ass money. They do.
To an extent. Like I saw this recent stat actually that was like people who are making $200,000 a year still report feeling like they have to live paycheck to paycheck.
Absolutely. Because of this trash ass world we live in right now.
And a lot of that was like associated with the amount of debt that people carry, like Correct. How much debt is normalized. Yeah. And that's like something I've heard like in the political like arena a lot of like, that should not be normal. Like the fact that it kind of goes back to like our generation not being able to afford to buy a house.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And then you can't like ever take out like a line of equity to put towards a business, to put towards like, if you do have to like, like just not having access to a line of equity is like sets crazy. You behind.
Crazy.
Because then you have to go borrow it from someone else instead of technically borrowing it from yourself.
Yeah.
And then that perpetuates this like culture that we live in now, right. Where things are so inflated and we're so underpaid. And then it creates a normalcy around taking on debt. Right. Which is so frustrating.
It is frustrating.
But anyway, so it's like, even when you're making like what quote unquote is good money, it's like you're still not, because of this like,
because you're having like to shovel it off to payments,
drowning
towards feeling. Debt. Yeah, it's awful. And then like the normalization of credit card, that's one thing with like the credit card. That's the only part of debt I haven't dabbled in ever. Yeah. And it's just because when I was younger, my credit was trash. I just couldn't fucking get a credit card. I have no idea.
I'm still building mine back up after the last two. Oh, we're at 2 years now of trying to like rebuild.
I'm trying to build it.
I finally made it above 600.
Let's go.
So
that's
I'm
huge,
at
dude.
619.
Yeah.
That's a big deal.
Okay.
We were in like the mid fives.
I think that's really normal though. I'm not going to lie.
I mean, it's just like devastating because like, you know, like when you'd worked hard to like build it up, I was like in the 700s and then it just tanked.
Well, and why is it so easy to ruin?
Yeah, so easy to ruin.
But it's so hard to build up.
2 years to like slowly build it back up.
Totally. Yeah. Well, and I think, it's just honestly, I almost feel like my terrible credit score was like such a blessing. That was, I think if I had been able to have like really solid credit cards, like my ex, he had perfect credit when he was like his whole life. I guarantee you he's still out there with like an 800 credit score. Who knows?
Must be nice.
But he had this credit card, and this is so dangerous. I don't know anything about credit cards or how fucking credit works. Like, what is credit? What is a credit score? Are we born with one?
That's a good question.
What does it start out at?
Where do you get one? Like, I think it's as soon as you start borrowing money, but like, how do you borrow money if you don't have a credit score? And you have to have someone co-sign. What if you don't have someone to help you co-sign?
And don't put a number on me.
Yeah.
And can I pick my number? Because I don't know. If someone could just explain to me what the fuck a credit score is and how it started.
It's like a report card.
Yeah, it's rude. I don't like it.
Yeah,
but he would get these like credit card. He had a credit card that like every year his spending limit would go up like $1,000. And I think when we were dating, this could be wrong, but I think his like on one of his credit cards, his spending limit was like almost 10K.
Yeah.
If I had that in my pocket, I would have been so fucked.
Dude, I did have that in my pocket.
How are you alive?
Crazy. Yeah. Like, because I mean, I bought a wedding on it. You know,
you put your whole wedding on a credit card.
Yeah.
Holy fuck.
I spent $20,000 on a credit card.
How did you get a credit card with a $20,000 spending limit?
Because I was married, or like I had good credit. I was in a like relationship, like, so we combined our like, because you can apply for a card together.
I didn't know that.
So then we had a card together. And multiple of them. So like I had one with $10,000, another with $20,000. He had one with $8,000. So we were like leveraging everything to like be able to like pay for this motherfucking wedding that we shouldn't have paid for. But that's how we paid for it. So and then a little bit of cash on top of that. But like, I mean,
how did you guys split when you guys got divorced? How does that work? How do you split debt?
So there was a couple things that there was like,
this is still money related, right?
Yeah, it is.
Okay,
because
cool.
So we had taken out a personal loan to pay off one of the, like basically a consolidation loan to pay off the credit cards.
Oh yeah. I thought about doing that. Yeah.
We took that out.
Yeah.
And that was just in his name at the time because I had started going back to school.
That makes sense. Yeah.
So that loan was for, I think like $15,000.
Okay.
So he took that loan because it was just in his name. So I'm like, you finish paying that loan. And he had a car that was also just in his name.
Okay, I see.
So we just decided, okay, you take that and you take the personal loan and the consolidation loan and you take the car. Mm-hmm. And then after he lost his job, and we won't get into that today, but another day, that's a whole nother episode.
Yeah.
Then because I was not making money at the time, then it like after like several months of like trying to get our feet on the ground because we were not set up. We were like living at our means. Like, I would even say beyond because it's like, we didn't really have like a great savings set aside. We saved up to buy a second car.
Yeah.
And then didn't replenish the savings or leave enough in the savings for like.
Normalize living beyond your means.
Yeah.
I live beyond my means.
Yeah. So then we were putting all this shit on our credit card.
Yeah.
Because I canceled all these subscriptions, all these memberships, all these things that we were like extra things that we were buying.
You were trimming the fat.
Yeah. Trimming the fat, to be able to, then like, I don't know, get our budget down to like what we are now bringing in after our like income was cut in a third.
Yeah.
Basically of what it was before.
Wow.
So then all the money that we had like paid off on that card, so to speak, with that consolidation loan.
Right.
Then we racked it back up again.
Fuck.
Yeah. So
How?
then because like he didn't have income for like a month and a half.
Fuck. So you just had to put it on the.
Yeah. Groceries had to go on the card. Like everything that wasn't like everything that I didn't have to pay in cash. So like rent and utilities, everything else went on the card because we had no income.
This is how people, that's so crazy.
Yeah, because we had no savings because we were living beyond our means.
Right.
And so then finally, then I got a job and then he finally got a job again.
Nice. Yeah.
And we were able to then like catch up a bit.
Yeah.
And like start paying off the card.
Right.
Well, then we decided to divorce. And then I was working part-time.
Yeah.
As a tech, basically a CNA.
Yeah.
And that's not a lot of money.
Right.
Just so everyone's aware.
Right.
Not a lot of monies. So I borrowed money from my mom and my aunt to pay rent for the remainder of being in school.
Yeah, because then you took on didn't you take on the rent yourself? No.
Yes, he moved out. So I took on rent by myself.
Right. So living in this big, beautiful place solo, alone.
And then, so he took the car and the consolidation loan and I took the credit card.
Okay.
So I'm like,
that. Was that overwhelming for you?
Yes.
Yeah.
Because then I couldn't afford the payment on it because I wasn't making enough money to.
Was the card maxed?
Yes, pretty much. Like within a few $1,000s probably.
Wow.
So, and then I think eventually it was maxed.
Bitchin'.
Yeah. Sick.
Yeah.
So then I got to the point where then I just could not pay that payment anymore. So then I went 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, 4 months without making any payments on it. So then my credit score just, and instead of calling the credit card company and saying, hey, this is the situation. What can I do?
Yeah.
Can we pause? Can we like lower the monthly pay? Like, can we do anything?
Yeah.
Because they'll work with you.
Yeah.
I just was like,
they just want money.
Yeah. Avoid. So then
avoid.
I
wanted an avoid button. And every time we're talking and we're like avoiding and we got to call each other up by going,
Yeah. Avoid. Stamp. Avoid. So then, my credit score went from about like a 770, something pretty solid to like 530.
Ooh, she tanked.
She tanked.
Yeah.
And then I finally worked up the courage to call this credit card company and be like, hey, like, and they had then shut off my credit card.
Oh, so you just had nothing.
So, and not that I was using it, but then now it didn't even matter if I paid it off. I didn't have access. I would never have access to that line of credit again.
Because credit cards are safety nets. Like I have this toxic mindset of if anything goes wrong, at least I have that $1,000 credit card as if that's enough money to like lean back on. So to have that, even if you shouldn't be spending on it, to have that shut off is scary.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
So then I finally muster up the courage to call them. And they're like, well, can you make a payment today? And I'm like, well, no, I'm not gonna be able to make a payment for a couple months. And they're like, well, we would recommend calling back when you can afford a payment. So I'm like, cool.
Thanks, bitches.
So then I just went like 3 more months without, like, cause I wasn't employed at the time because I was waiting for my license to come in. Cause I think when I called, I hadn't even sat for the NCLEX yet, which is the licensing exam.
I remember this was like shit hit the fan and it was like, you were in your last term of nursing school.
Yeah.
You and your husband at the time decided to divorce.
Yeah.
He split. You're taking on all these bills. You're trying to work as like a CNA and get your shit wrapped up, scheduling your, what are they called? Your LSATs are
NCLEX.
That thing, your final nursing test. And it was just like, I remember you calling me and being like, dude, I hit a wall. I got nothing.
I have nothing. And that's when I got to the point where I'm like, I literally don't have a fuck to give anymore.
Yeah.
Like I'm just.
What was it with your car? Not to call you. No, I think that this is real. Like there was something where you were like, I can't afford to pay my insurance.
Oh,
your car insurance. So I'm just going to hold off for a minute.
Yeah. So I was just uninsured for a couple months also.
That's real though. I've also done the same
I was
thing.
driving uninsured. I was drowning in credit card debt.
Yeah.
Credit score. What credit score?
What credit score? She left the building.
She's left.
Yeah.
Dignity. Where?
Okay. Stop. But you were also doing like, I mean, I think that was I remember you talking to me about that time extensively. And I think that you needed to go through that because right before that happened, I remember I came down and was visiting you. Mm-hmm. And this was before you and your husband at the time decided to divorce. And you were just so fed up with your relationship with money then as well, because you were doing all of it alone. You had to pay attention to every little thing because you didn't have someone to do it with you. And so I do wonder if like that season mixed with the season that came next of like everything kind of coming and crashing down is kind of where you had to have a wake up call about money. And I think that you're still in the learning process of it. There has been so much going on in your fucking life that I think that it's almost, again, I don't know why I'm being such a positive Polly this morning. It's kind of annoying me, but like, maybe you having this season of like living rent free, but making good money, you are learning where to put your money differently. And you are learning about money. And I do think that this is just a learning season for us both, you know, but we're talking about you and your relationship with money that I think you're still fine tuning things. And so I think talking it through and being like, I don't know about you, but like you're talking about this time when you were in Arizona and like shit was crazy, dude. Yeah. It was
crazy
rough.
too because it was so good and then it just was so fucking bad. So fucking bad. Like it went to the most secure I've ever been financially to like being able to buy a car, you know, with cash. To then being like, I am drowning in debt actually and I can't afford anything.
But you had that moment kind of being like, it is what it is.
Yeah,
you know?
no, totally. And that is like, I think what saved me. And then I remember like the day that I did call the credit card company and I finally had money to like, I'd gotten like my first paycheck from nursing and then I got my bonus and like my sign on bonus or whatever. And I was like, finally could call them. And it was so emotional. Like I like cried after I got off the phone. There was like multiple times throughout the call where I was like on the verge of tears. Cause it was so emotional because it was such a weight that I'd been carrying. And like, so I'd been carrying so much shame around it. Yeah. And like moral of the story is it's like, okay, I figured it out. Yeah. You know what I mean? And it came back to, it got so out of control because I avoided it for so long. And to the point where then when I finally just like accepted it for the shit that it was, stopped giving a fuck. And then like actively worked on changing it and addressing it. Then everything, like it was such a release. It didn't have to be this huge like demon, but I let it be.
You tightened your grip on it and you started having more control over it and it has led to freedom. And that's the thing. I think that with money too, By the way,
I have only $2,000 left to pay that like on that.
Your credit card?
Yeah. On that's that $20,000.
Dude, that's fucking dope. That's fucking crazy.
So that's all
cool. That's a huge thing to celebrate. And I do think that's what's important is like, I think that money, like with health, is a never ending journey. Nobody has it figured out. Nobody has like it done, set in stone, accomplished that part of life. Right. And I think when you're hitting milestones with a relationship with your body or with money, you do have to like kind of stop and check yourself and like celebrate those things and be like, yeah, like this is really hard, but like, look at where I was like a year ago, you know, like I have a hard time doing that with money because I still don't have a savings. No savings. I think actually I have see, this is how little I check my bank account and that's very toxic, but I think I have a savings of like maybe $1,200 that hasn't been touched hasn't been added to since I did taxes. That's how my savings starts is that I put whatever I get from taxes in a savings.
That's a huge amount of money.
But like it is, but like, no, it is, but like it hasn't grown since I got it in April.
That's okay though.
Yeah. And so I have that there, but it's like, I think celebrating the fact that, you know, I maybe don't have a lot of money, but like what's crazy is on the grand scheme of things, I also know that I don't have a lot of debt. I don't like, you know, Taylor and I talk about debt all the time and she is a decorated, educated social worker. She got her master's, all the things. And so when I talk about my debt and how stressed I am, I'm like, she humbles me and she's like, Kelly, shut the fuck up. You don't even know what debt is. Like, and it doesn't mean that you don't carry that weight as heavily, but I guess my point is like stopping to celebrate that every year there is a little accomplishment in like healing my relationship with money. And also I think that with money, my biggest thing that I've learned is like, there's gotta be like some tenacity with it. You gotta stay after it. You have to keep like
saying like, I think a little bit saying like, I'll always have debt is like saying like, well, I'll always be out of shape. It's like, there's like a way to address it or like be disciplined and get after it. You know what I mean? Like, and I was talking to my friend Miranda about this. We were on a walk and she was talking about how like her and her partner have like started to like plan financially their future together and stuff, and like things that the goals that they have, they still keep their finances separate, but they do a lot of their goal planning together.
Yeah.
And something that they did is they started like tracking, like, this is how much we've paid off. And I'm like, that is so much different of an approach to it. Like to say like, oh, I've paid off this much instead of I have this much left to pay off. Because there's like accomplishment in like, look at how much I've gotten done.
Yeah.
You know?
I think with money, especially, it's such a like never ending journey that like you kind of do. I think we're trying to say the same thing, is that like you have to focus on your accomplishments because it gets so big and heavy when you're like, well, this is how much debt I have.
Because I can be like, I still have $100,000 to pay off, or I can be like, I've paid off $50,000.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Like there's a way to look at it differently. You know?
And that's what I was saying earlier, is that like, you know, it's like when you look at like your living situation and like, you know, living with Baka is so taxing. And like, I hear that. It was the same thing when I lived with Justin's mom, where I was like, you remember.
Yeah. Oh, I remember.
It was bad. There's something about living with women that just need their moods stabilized a bit, that really does something to our brains, and it's not good. So I hear that. But also, have you, like, if you weren't able right now to live with Baka completely rent free, you wouldn't have been able to pay off that much money.
No.
And that's the mind shift that you have to have. It's like, I beat myself up for like, why I'm living beyond my means.
Yeah.
I should not be living in an apartment this cute, in a neighborhood this nice. I should have a fucking roommate, all of these things. But like, for me to have confidence in myself and know that I can live without a fucking man, and do it without a fucking man, and shift how I see dating other people, I would not have healed so much of my life. Like, everything we're doing is for our betterment, right? So it's like, I think that having that mind shift, this is how much I paid off, not this is how much I still need to pay off, things like that. That's the only way to take the weight off of, I think, the reasons that money is taboo. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. No, I think that is the unlock to making it bearable.
I love that. You're never going to be, I don't think that money is ever going to be something that anyone is like, yes, let's do money. I mean, maybe there's those people out there and I'm jealous of them, but I think that making it bearable, palatable, something that I'm at least a little more neutral on than like it's spiking my fucking anxiety until I don't sleep for a week straight.
Because I've like, there's someone that I kind of look to for like, just like a lot of different things, like as kind of an inspiration, but they have gotten to a point where they have started to gamify their money. And I'm like, that's cool.
That's fun.
I want to work towards that.
I've loved board games my whole life.
Yeah.
If I can make anything into a game.
If I can make it a game, that's cool. So that's like a goal,
better.
You know, but there's steps.
Yeah.
But I also think you can make those steps kind of a game.
I think that make it, maybe this is an unlock I need to have, is that like anything in my life that I want, I just am a child and I have to turn it into a board game or like a game. Yeah. Like working out. Like I've told you, like I've been able.
I know you started doing tennis so much.
And I'm moving my body. Yeah. Like I think that I think that going to the gym, I've realized it's fucking garbage.
Yeah.
It's not for me. Yeah. Love, support it. Yeah. I actually this week on my to-do list, I'm canceling my gym membership.
Good for you.
And that feels scary and awful because then like the shame comes in around like, oh wow, another time you joined the gym and didn't use it. But I'm like, no,
it's not the season.
Now I'm going to have the money that this fall I'm joining a tennis club and I'm going to play tennis with old ladies. I'm going to with the oldies.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
I love that. Yeah. So I need to find that thing with my money and my budgeting.
Make it a game.
You know what I mean? Because
let's play Monopoly.
Like because you've like eliminated the barrier to consistency and you've taken away the shame of like, I should be at the gym. No, I want to be playing tennis. I want to be having fun. So I need to find that flip with my finances.
Money. Yeah. And I think that we're inevitably going to visit this again because clearly we have a lot to say about it. And I think people like talking about it. I think this is just going to be
a recurring conversation.
Like a money check-in. Yeah. We'll do a Baka check-in and like a money check-in. Or like a body progress check-in depending on how fucking in it I am.
I love that.
Jesus.
Because Jesus.
All right. So let's wrap this up.
Yeah. Okay. I love you.
I love you. I don't love money.
We do love money.
I love money when I can spend it.
Yeah. We love money. We just also have things to heal.
We have to heal. Okay. Yeah. I think
cheers to healing.
Cheers to healing, bitches.
Illy, bye.
Bye.
Okay.
That was good. That was fun.
last thing before you go, there is no us without you. Go like and subscribe our show on your favorite streaming service and go follow us on all socials at Let's Get Taboo. Chat with you next time.